still there under the surface. But I have also been resisting. I've been doing immigrant rights activism for almost a decade, and I have been called illegal more times than I can count. I have seen my family friends break down in front of me after a deportation, and I've seen my friends being arrested for advocating for federal immigration reform and the DREAM Act. This is my life as an undocumented immigrant. But living in Washtenaw County makes it a little bit easier. I moved to Ypsi only 4 months ago from Detroit, but I already know that it was the right decision. I want to belong to a community that passes ordinances like the one that we're going to be discussing here today. I want to belong to a community that values me as a person. I want to pay taxes to a city that knows that regardless of my immigration status, I am a human being. And I want to continue building relationships with the county government that respects and appreciates the perspectives that I bring to the table. It's not easy to do this work. Actually, it's quite the opposite. It's sometimes tedious and exhausting. People are unkind and are quick to judge without understanding that there is no line or no application for me to fix my immigration status. In times like these, it helps to remember why we do this work. We fight for immigrant rights because they're human rights. Because no one should be afraid that a routine traffic stop is going to turn into a deportation. And because asking for help should not come with a request to disclose your immigration status. There are so many things in our world today that strip away our humanity. And we must actively remind ourselves what it means to stand in solidarity with those who are most vulnerable. What it means to act courageously, even when it's uncomfortable. Yes, I pay taxes in this county, and I deserve these services. But it's more than taxes. It's more than an ordinance and a resolution. It's about human dignity. This is the Washtenaw County that I want to live in. This is why, along with dozens of other allies who are all here today, if they could please stand, are here to ask you to vote yes on this ordinance. Please take a moment to be courageous and stand up for immigrant rights. Thank you. And first of all, I'd like to say thank you to all the commissioners for bringing these policies and resolutions forward. You all are standing out amongst many other counties in Michigan, and I hope that this may be a model for other counties in Michigan if this so passes. I'm also one of the co-founders of Washtenaw Interfaith Coalition for Immigrant Rights, otherwise known as WICR. And as I've told you before, we've been working closely with the immigrant community for the last 9 years. And we've seen many encounters with ICE and the aftermath that ICE leaves with the families. So tonight I'm here most hopeful that not only the money that could go to MRC would be helpful in legal aid for many of the immigrants that need that in Washtenaw County, and I should say many of the tax-paying immigrants in Washtenaw County. But also, I would be hopeful, very hopeful in the way that WICR would be able to work closely with barrier busters, because many of the tax-paying immigrants do not, at this point, for many reasons, have access to many of the services that other Washtenaw County residents do. Say, for instance, psychological counseling, which is definitely needed. There are many families, individuals who are left with trauma, both are not sure how to deal with trauma in their children or in their own lives as adults, and they don't really have access to those services right now. And many of these residents, even if they haven't experienced any trauma with ICE, they have crises just like any other tax-paying resident in Washtenaw County and may need access to food resources, emergency utility services. Those are just a couple examples that many Washtenaw County residents have at this time and can go and talk with a social worker somewhere at an agency, and they have the access and they have the ability. But many of the immigrants right now do not have that access. So I would hope that if these policies and resolutions could go forward, that WICR and other social service agencies in Washtenaw County could really help those immigrant residents who, again, are paying taxes. They should be able to receive the same services that other Washtenaw County residents are receiving to be able to help themselves as functioning, healthy functioning residents in Washtenaw County and help their children to receive the services they need. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Commissioners, for giving me the opportunity to be here. My name is Ruby Robinson. I am a supervising attorney with the Michigan Immigrant Rights Center. We are a resource center for Michigan's immigrants and Michigan's immigration advocates. We have an office around the corner. We operate statewide. We have another office in Kalamazoo. And our purpose and our goal really is to support the most vulnerable in our communities around the state. And as Maria just alluded to, immigrants are certainly near the top of people who are vulnerable. So I appreciate the county and commissioners for bringing forth these resolutions and the policy today. They are more critical and more urgent and more needed than any time before. In terms of solicitation of people and removing that from day-to-day aspects of government work, that will create a tremendous reprieve for all people around the county. We saw, for example, in Los Angeles, 25% decrease in the number of domestic violence cases that have been reported to the police, and an equal number of sexual assaults since January. And that's as a direct result, not of crimes not occurring, but specifically because of people afraid to come forward and report crimes to the police. Our demand for legal services has increased exponentially. Last year at this time, we had 300 such cases open in our system between November and April. And this year we have over 500 cases. We've received over 750 technical support requests from attorneys, from social workers, from doctors, from community groups about what is happening in the community. And it's more critical than ever to ensure that citizens of Washtenaw County and residents of Washtenaw County have access to these services. And we are here to ensure that they can receive those needs. We provide free immigration legal assistance to many people, regardless, oftentimes, of their income. And there are no other entities around the state that provide these services besides a few law school clinics and one other organization known as Justice for Our Neighbors. So providing these legal services really goes a long way to ensuring stability in the communities that we live and work in. We provide technical support and assistance in Know Your Rights workshops. We prepare these guides, and since November, we've printed 10,000 of them. They're Know Your Rights, they're in English, they're in Spanish, they're being printed in Arabic and French and Bengali, and we can print them in other languages if the community needs. And we give you these out for free. We provide trainings, we provide pro bono representation to hundreds of non-citizens around the state. And so should the resolution be granted, we would go a long way to ensuring that citizens of Washtenaw County have access to affordable or free legal services, and as stable, and providing them these services will create stability in the county and the communities. We don't want families to grow up without parents. We don't want...
Forgive me.
Yes, I appreciate the time.
Thank you.